Hey, welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Ultimate Affiliate Marketing. I'm your host, as always. It's Paul Motley, and today we have a special guest. We have Freddie Owen on the show. How are you doing, Freddie?
Very good. Thank you very much for having me today.
No worries, man. It's always fun to do these. I have a blast. I hope you have a blast with it as well. But now you are almost, I see you online, and I see you seated next to all these like huge big names and that, and I just keep thinking, like, who's this guy? What has he got? What does he do? And how can he impact on other people? So for those people that are listening right now, tell us who Freddie is and what you can get out of being with Freddie, if you like.
Well, Freddy does a lot of things, but in most cases, Freddy loves building funnels. I have a digital product called Funnel Logics. I also have a email marketing product called Inbox Assassins. I love helping people, entrepreneurs, make their funnels convert better. I do funnel building on the side. I'm actually living ClickFunnels. So ClickFunnels is my funnel builder of choice as of right now. I have a podcast called The Freddy O Show. I've been doing this since 2012. And first year and a half were absolutely, emphatically horrible. House was in foreclosure. And I just remember back in 2012, I went, one of the reasons why I like ClickFunnels is I like Russell Brunson because my friend, Bob Beckett, said, hey, listen, this is when literally my wife looked at me and said, what are we going to do? We're 12 months behind on mortgage. And I was like, I'm not going to give up. And so he took me to this private mastermind. I got to meet, I was in this room, this small hotel room with like 100 people in it. And they were recording something called the invisible funnel. So if you see that on YouTube, you see me walking in and out during the breaks. But I went in there and people were super nice. But the crazy thing is I was the only one that was like dead broke. These guys were doing really great. But one thing it told me was I look back and I'm looking around at these people and they're all regular people just like you and me. And I'm like, there's no difference between them and me. The only difference is I just need to, focus on one thing. Because I did what mostly every entrepreneur does in this industry, and they go from one thing to another to another. So I finally latched on to something I really liked, and that was funnel building. And Funnel Logics came into fruition, and just a regular guy that likes building funnels and likes meeting new people like you, Paul, and having a good time.
That's awesome, man. And it's cool. Obviously, I did my homework to some degree and checked out a couple of your sites. You like to, I'm not particularly stalking you, but next time you're walking past an alley, just double check it. And so, yeah, it's cool that you're a funnel builder too. Now, that's something that I've been involved with and done for a long time to various degrees of success. And it's always good to meet other funnel builders because you probably have a passion for it now, which surpasses quite a lot of other things. And because of that passion, it's something that you're deeply invested in doing. And if you can do that, and if you can actually have a business that you're passionate about, it's going to make it so much easier to keep going with it. And you probably found that.
One of the things I think that a lot of people don't realize is when they get in the industry, it's like I built funnels for people, but I always encourage them to see what I do, watch what I do, and learn what I do, because they don't realize the doors that can open. And what I mean by that is if you are like, I'm not a big MLM guy, never have been, never will be. Not saying they're bad. I'm just not a team rah, rah, rah guy. But if you were to make your own funnel and you were to get good at it, imagine the doors that can open up to where you're actually able to make a funnel and then share a funnel and then maybe pay to have people pay you for that funnel and then teach that funnel and make another course on how to create funnels, tips, tricks, ideas, brand yourself. And then before you know it, people know, like, and trust you, then they're going to join whatever you're part of if you're in an MLM or whatever. So I just think that if you learn a craft, and I'm not saying it's for everybody. I tried to get my son to do it. He didn't want to do it. He's like, Dad, I don't want to do that. Okay. But I think it's a good thing to learn, especially, this day and age where you can actually sell a funnel. And once you get good at it, it takes you a day, maybe half a day, maybe an hour, who knows? depending on what you're doing. So I really do enjoy it. And that's my main bread and butter. Email marketing is big too, but back 2 years ago, I was in Florida in Harry Potter World, and my buddy called me. I had a great gig going on. I had friends that were emailing out, and I was supplying the traffic, and we would split what they made every week with me, and then I had my own list. I had 7 AWebers get shut down out of nowhere, and it was a kick in the teeth, but it was a learning experience because I knew that I was doing everything wrong. So that's why Inbox Assassin, I wanted to figure out why I was having these issues. And a lot of it was because I was emailing out spam. Let's get real. I'll tell you right now. I was spamming people CPA products. It was a dumb thing to do, and it bit me in the butt. So yeah, I do. I like those two things, but I love traffic. I love, but I also believe this. A lot of people say you need to have a big list. I'd rather have a smaller list that's responsive than a big list that's not responsive.
Absolutely.
So big time. Yeah. So I firmly believe if you're listening to this and you do email marketing, clean your list on a regular basis, because your open rates are going to be much better and it'll look really good to the provider you're using. So yeah. I
totally agree with you there, man. And emailing is definitely something I need to get better at myself. And sometimes it's kind of like a vanity thing. It's the whole vanity numbers. It's like, oh, look, I've got a list of 10,000, or I've got 200,000 on YouTube, or this, that, and the other. It means nothing if no one does anything. It's like I remember like a few years ago when I bought a course called Get 10,000 Fans from Brian Moran. And the idea of the premise of it was, back in the day when Facebook business pages or fan pages were out, there was a whole big buzz about it. And, you could build up this following and everybody saw what you were posting out. Now you're lucky to get 10% reach through that if through your thing. And it's similar probably to how email has gone, but the difference being is if you can segment out your traffic, you're going to have great success with that segment. I mean, again, this is a perfect example. And I posted about this a long time ago. I had an email list for the business that I was running at the time, ran my own business for 24 years, right?
Okay.
And I was able to segment out a list of just 26 people. And I emailed an offer and we made 4,500.
Oh, yeah.
Just from that. And you just think that's kind of smart. Now, if I could multiply that's 26 by 100 and have like over 2,500 people just like them, that'd be amazing. But the reality of it is it's not always the case. So like you said there, cleaning your lists out, segmenting them, and sending people offers which are relative to that segment is going to see you way better in the future.
I also think that you need to forward think too, as far as, and it's been around for a while, but like I love ManyChat. I love ManyChat, and imagine, like, I always try to tell somebody, if a client, like if I'm talking to them as far as their funnel, people always go to email, and that's great. But, if you offer, like you have a capture page, goes to a thank you page, and then, gives them what they want, but then also offer them an actual, maybe a second bonus for free if they click this button, go to a ref URL in ManyChat, and then now they're on 2 lists. So, and the open rates on ManyChat are freaking phenomenal. And I know there's other ones out there. I've never tried them, but I like ManyChat. But I think a chatbot's fantastic as well, because it just opens your reach and you can do more with that. But like anything, I've been through, like when I got shut down, I went through tons of email, service providers, seeing which one was the best. And man, I did a review on a lot of them, because my favorite of right now, and I would say AWeber, but I'm blacklisted from AWeber, unfortunately. It is what it is. But it's my own fault. I love ActiveCampaign. That's my favorite that I go to right now. But there are some really good ones out there, but there are some really bad ones out there too.
Oh man, I think we're paddling up the same stream here, because not only do you use ClickFunnels, same as I do. Your podcast, just remind me of the name again, quick.
The Freddy O Show.
There you go. We're getting that plug in there for you. We use Buzzsprout the same as I do for this podcast.
Yep.
and I'm also a big Active Campaign fan. And yeah,
It's
so
amazing. And the cool thing is it can be very daunting for somebody brand new, especially with all the automation they have. But I think automation is key to any good business, because especially if you run it by yourself, you know, you need to have things automated. So
oh,
I can only imagine if I didn't have things automated and somebody were to buy, you know, Funnel Logics, and they weren't automatically added to the membership and they weren't automatically getting the emails that are going out, and I had to do that all manually, it would be a nightmare.
oh,
So
absolutely, yeah.
I'm addicted to automation. I love it. And I'll do whatever I can to make everything and anything automated.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree with you. And although we're talking about that, is some of that automation can be syndication as well. That's something that I'm looking into specifically for my podcast right now, is how I can syndicate content. I mean, previously, for those that use Buzzsprout or don't use Buzzsprout, as soon as you finish like uploading your episode, you can immediately pop it out to Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And I think you can get like a link or a feed that you can put into your website. But you can also download what they call a soundbite, which is like a small section, and it creates like a square video that you can then upload into other things. And I use, at the moment, I'm using later.com, where that will schedule out the post to, again, a Facebook business page, Twitter, Pinterest, and Instagram. So you can start getting this little bit of automation going on. And I've just been looking at something else today, which is going to allow me to do all that automatically based on, I'm getting too technical now, the RSS feed from your podcast itself. So that's going to be even cooler when I can think, right, now I don't actually have to go back once I've finished uploading it and then go and do this sort of like semi-promotion, if you like. It will do it all for me. It's automatic. It's on a feed. So
Oh
that's,
yeah, your RSS feed for your podcast.
yeah, that's going to be a time saver for sure. Because some nights, because I do these every day, as you know,
And
some
that I
nights,
gotta give you credit. I already told you this once, but doing these every day is that's pretty awesome.
no, I appreciate that, man. But I mean, listen, when you actually hear
I
how
do one once a week, and I'm beat after that, but it's all good. I got a lot of things going on, and I know you do too. But that's crazy. That's just like a lot of guests too.
oh
But
yeah,
you
true,
gotta
but true, but a lot of it, I mean, if you look back, we're into the 80 plus episodes now, and what we didn't say before is it's all off the back of reading Russell Brunson's book, The Traffic Secrets. And I got so far in it, and at some point it said, if you can do a podcast every day, if you publish every day for a year, you won't have to worry about money again. So I'm trying that out.
Absolutely. One thing I can tell you, I don't know if you do this or not, and if you're listening, if you have a podcast, is I use otter.ai, okay? And I upload every podcast up to that. And what it does is it transcribes it for me.
Yeah.
And I download it and make it into a post.
Yeah.
My website, on Buzzsprout, everything. So I think that it's definitely, it helps with that.
Yeah, I think I need to upgrade my thing on there because I only had like a freebie, which only allowed me to like do 2 or 3, which again, you can create blog posts about it, which of course you're getting more content out into the world and just increasing your reach and, just trying to make a small dent on your own corner of the world, if you like, to put your stuff out there and just
But it
try.
does, it's true, but it's like anything. What you're doing, 88 episodes, I'm on 10, you're on 88. If I go back in time, and I wish I could punch myself in the face 5 times. If I were to have blogged, I had a podcast called Marketing the Practical Way back in the day. I had 40 episodes. Was it great? No, it wasn't. I was brand new. I was happy I had a podcast. I would go off the whim and talk and stuff. Wasn't bad. But if I were to have consistently done that since 2012, even once a week, can you imagine how powerful that would be?
Oh, yeah.
But I didn't, but it goes back to shiny object syndrome. So if you're listening, you're starting out brand new, stick with what you're doing. Don't look at the numbers. Don't look at the numbers right away, because guess what? They're going to be low. You start a YouTube channel, they're going to be low. If you consistently do it every day, not every day, but like Paul does it every day, he's like a juggernaut. But if you do it every week without fail, no exception, and you stick on a routine. Jerry Seinfeld. You ever watch Seinfeld?
Oh, absolutely, man. Massive
I
fan.
love Seinfeld. So Seinfeld, he had as Jerry Seinfeld did, he had a calendar on his wall, and every day he would do 50 jokes a day, or was it 500 words, something like that, and he would exit. And his goal was never to break the chain. In other words, he would have to do it every day. He said some days the jokes were horrible, but some days were fantastic. Look how successful he was. He was consistent. And Gary Vee is another good example. He had his wine channel, correct? 100 episodes. He had maybe 50 views on each episode. Look where he's at now. Consistency. So yeah, definitely. When you hit your 356 episode, that's gonna be fantastic. You know, because it's gonna be awesome.
It'll be nuts. And part of me is thinking, what about the first 10, which were like just like regular interviews, which were staged out over like either a week or every 2 weeks. And then I kind of like fell off it around February of 2020 and then started again after reading the book. And I keep thinking, if I get to the 100, I can't really say I've been doing it every day for 100 days, but I'm, you know, who's gonna say no?
No, and a lot of it with me is I get into and this is just, I love this. I love being able to talk to other entrepreneurs because a lot of times I'm behind this piece of machinery, this piece of equipment right here, you know, for 5-6 hours a day, and it gets, you know, a little bit boring, and it's great, and you get in your own head. And I used to worry about, like, back in the day, what people would think. You know what? You gotta screw that noise. Just go for it and have a good time and be you. I think it's great.
I totally agree, and I think sometimes when you do get those people which are, you know, perhaps not quite as enthusiastic about what you're doing than you are, you know, there's a couple of ways of looking at it. A lot of time they're coming at it from a position of maybe caring for you and perhaps not wanting you to make mistakes or waste your time and all that sort of stuff. But then you think, if just ask yourself this question: if you woke up tomorrow and you were them in their shoes, would you rather be them or would you rather be you? So you actually got to think about it positively and think, okay, if you're fully passionate about what you're doing, it doesn't matter what other people say because they're not you.
I think a lot of people are also, I don't want to say jealous, but they wish they could do it, and that's their way of coping with it. And they can do it if they want to. And as far as people caring about you, people are going to be, especially family members. When I first started out, I was told to get my head out of the sand. It was rough. You know, I had family members that supported me and some that were not so supportive. I love them big time, but I think it was more so people are comfortable how they know you right now.
Yeah.
And when they see you doing things differently that are affecting that, because it did affect things.
Of course,
you know, when our mortgage was 12 months behind, it affected things. It wasn't good.
Yeah.
I remember emphatically going to back in 2012, I had to humble myself. I went to a soup kitchen at a church. I had to get food. I had no, you know, but I knew what was on the other side of, if I were to quit, I would have went back to the car business, probably been bald by now, overweight, in a big, it would have been a mess. I don't even like the car business. I like the people, but not the car business. I knew what was the other side of that if I quit. And so it was a good decision that I stuck with it. And I really do love it. There are days I'm not, you know, days I have my days, but I think we all do, you know.
Of course we do. Yeah.
When
And I
things
think,
don't go right, sights are down.
oh
you
yeah,
know?
it sucks. And also as well, it's important to get that kind of like work-life balance as well. I mean, I was talking to someone recently that just started a program that I was in, and he's like hyped. He's like totally pumped. You know, he's literally on the, you know, the highest peak of endorphins because he's just bought into this thing and it's completely opened the world for him. And he said, "Oh man, I've been on this for hours now. My partner keeps trying to drag me away." He's like, and I says, "Stop. You know, if she's like actively doing something to try and get you off it, that means she's probably been thinking about it for the last couple of hours. And only now is she trying to get you to physically come off. So, get off there, go and spend time with her, go and spend time with your family, kick back, and then come back on it again when you've got the time. Compartmentalize what you're going to work on and when you're going to work on it, and don't let it impact too much on your life. Because I'm just giving them the benefit of my experience, because I've been the worst one for it. I'd be out at work all day. I'd get home. I wouldn't even say hi to anybody. I'd get straight on the computer, and that'd be me till 2 a.m. And I just don't want the consequences of that for other people, because that became a problem.
Well, also, for me at least, I can get more done. Because I remember when I first started, I was in the same way. I made the big mistake of I quit my job, cold turkey, to do this. And let me tell you, that's why everything went downhill. I had my dad passed away. I had some inheritance money. I went through all of that. And then everything just went, as I said, downhill. But I was working 12, 15 hours in front of the computer. I know now that if I work 5 to 6 hours a day, I get just as much done than that 12 and 15 hour period, because I'm more focused. I'm not all over the place. And I have a set task list of things. I'm not the most organized person. And there's times where, like, if I get on a podcast, I've talked to people about, like, what do they call that when you're productivity. I love talking to them because they give me ideas up and down, because sometimes I'm just not the most productive. But I do know I'm the most productive and creative within a 5 to 6 hour period. I can knock out so much stuff, and then before you know it, I'm done. I can do what I want to do.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean that I don't sometimes later in the evening jump on, look at what's going on, maybe make a few changes here and there, But yes, I do 5 to 6 hours, sometimes 7, sometimes 8. Just depends on what's going on. I try to keep it to a minimum.
Yeah.
Because especially when you're building a funnel, you're more creative doing that.
Yeah. I think this whole laptop lifestyle that we were probably all sold into back in the 90s is bullshit, because it never actually happens. When you're working for yourself, you're more invested in it. So sometimes the hours can creep by. And this thing where you said about quitting your job, again, another romantic notion, if you like, of people saying, if you had 90 days to become successful at your business, or you had nothing. You've heard the thing where you go, right, well, you got 90 days to make it, or that's it, you quit. Sometimes people go, oh yeah, that'd be a great motivator. But unless they were actually in that shoes where literally they only have a few months money left, and there was no way of getting other income, they can't even begin to understand the pressures that it can put on a person.
Absolutely. There's times where I remember when I was first starting out, I would have a hard time, because I've never done the fake it till you make it. I don't believe in that. And it turns me off big time when I see people do that. The fact is, you have to put in the work. It takes time. But there were times when I was having a rough time, and I didn't feel the confidence to do a video, or the confidence to do this, that, and the other. And the easy thing would have been, okay, just go back to the car business, Fred. That's where you belong. But no, it's not where I belong. I just knew that I had to dig deep. And I learned a lot, especially about pride and being humble, and realizing that, guess what? And if you have anybody tell you that, this is what we do is easy, tell them, ask them how easy it is. How can it be so easy? But it's not easy. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And plus, learning curve for a lot of people.
Of course,
it's fun. It is fun. You got to be open to new ideas. This industry changes left and right, up and down, but yes, it is fun. I have a blast doing it.
I think that is the main thing. And I think if you ever get to a point where you're really not enjoying it on a consistent basis, then you need to change what you're doing. I was listening actually to a couple of Dean Graziosi's YouTubes today. Obviously not watching the video because I was driving, but just had the phone next to me flipped over, so I couldn't get distracted from it. And one of the things that he was saying was that it's like nothing's ever given to you on a plate. You got to work for it. You got to bust through walls to get it. You got to be determined and everything else that goes with it. But also, I think the main point that he was coming across was that you've got to look at when you do fail, and you will fail, you've got to think, right, that is another step closer to your success. Because if you ever get to a point, you know, when your life is over and you go meet your maker, no matter what your religions or beliefs are, and let's say you're sat in front of someone and they turn around to you and go, okay, right, well, your life's done now. How did it go? And I go, oh, well, you know, I did pretty good and tried this and tried that, didn't work. And well, what do you mean it didn't work? It says, well, you know, I had this failure and that, and just went back and got a job and that. And if they turn around to you and said, you know, you were only 2 failures away from success, you'd be like, shit, can I go back and do ever?
The only way you fail, in my opinion, because you're going to have roadblocks, you're going to have mess ups, you're going to have bad decisions. The only way you 100% fail is when you quit. And
you can
and
put that
also
on a t-shirt.
you have to, another thing too is you have to allow yourself time. I've had people that did some kind of, we created something for them, they threw some traffic at it. Oh, I didn't make any money, you know, what's going on? You know, and their thought process, and a lot of it's the way it's delivered. It's gotten a lot better as far as like how people can promise, you know, the world. They can't do that anymore in a lot of cases. But if you expect to get rich in a month or a week or 2 months, whatever, you're on cloud nine. That doesn't make sense. You know, it takes money to make money, and you're going to have to go through the ringer to get there.
Yeah,
And be persistent and take the punches.
absolutely.
Just like if you're at a job, because I know right now the guy that owns the business that you're working for right now, if you are working for an owner, had to go through the same thing, and he probably has it worse because he has a brick and mortar business right now that is really probably getting hit hard with the COVID thing and trying to make ends meet. So it's just crazy that people don't realize the work that having your own business it takes to do it. But yes, do I believe anybody, if they put their mind to it, can do it? Absolutely.
Oh yeah, and you know, we're not trying to depress anybody now by saying that it's going to take, you know, X amount of years to see success, because you know sometimes we're a shining light, sometimes things come quicker to others, and that. I mean,
Absolutely.
You know, without giving away my age too much, I mean, my first experience of being an entrepreneur was 26 years ago.
No.
Yes, I know.
You're like 39, aren't you? 38?
Oh no. Higher as we mid 40s now. Mid
How
40s.
old do you think I am?
I would say you probably like I would say 38. I'm guessing.
46.
Okay, well you got a year on me anyways, right? So
Okay, 45. So you're still young.
oh yeah, I'm still young, but I just remember back to being 19, the first time I saw something where I could potentially make money from. And I thought this is different to what I was thinking at the time. And that was some crazy ideas. In fact, I think one of the first things I ever saw was penny shares, right?
I've done that. Yeah.
You ever seen that? Penny shares?
Yeah.
Another thing that I saw as well was, and again, this is all just stuff which used to get sent out in the mail to you. You know, you'd see an ad in the paper and you'd send off your little self-addressed envelope to it, you know.
Oh yeah.
So they'd send you the information because they didn't want to spend money on stamps. So you had to send a stamp yourself, which is very clever of them. You get the information, send us a self-addressed envelope, and that way their costs are a lot lower. And there's an idea for people, just think about that. And that's what a lot of these free plus shipping offers are. You know, it's like, we're going to send it for free, but you pay the shipping, right? So, and that's probably where it originated from. And I think that was reclaiming unclaimed land, something
I've
like
never done that before.
Yeah, no, I never looked into it, but I got the book, you know, and it was basically there's pockets of land all over the world and all over the country, which officially don't actually belong to anybody. And it showed you a way of means getting it, but it would take you about 20 years to actually before you own the land. So it wasn't that attractive. Another thing that I saw was a way.
Well, my biggest thing was like I started doing was like eBay. I was on eBay and I was selling vinyl records.
Oh man.
I still have a ton of them here because I got burned out on it. But eBay back in the day, I enjoyed it. But I just like the fact that I was, you know, always. But I did it when I was working in the car business. I was called the Vinyl Man, and I still have a bunch of the records. But it was cool. But I really got into this when I met my mentor Bob Beckett I met him at church, and he's like telling me how how amazing it was, and I did it. But I made a lot of mistakes when I did it. So,
Yeah. Yeah, no.
but I learned from them.
That's crazy. And like I say, these things that we looked into in the past. I mean, I remember when before eBay came out, and the first adverts were just like this eBay colored or multicolored teapot. That was their ad. I don't know if you remember seeing that, but I was in the computer
No.
magazines over in the UK, and it was kind of like a collectible or semi-collectible item, which was this teapot thing, and people sort of like suggesting that you could sell it online, and it was this big, huge thing. It was like amazing. How could we ever do it? And then it went through a stage of people being really super nervous because they were buying stuff online. Now these days, you can pretty much buy anything online. But you go back 10, 15, or maybe even 5 years ago, people were afraid to do it. You know,
But
because
I
they were
still
worried
believe
about it.
that a lot of people might think that the industry is like oversaturated, but it's not by any means. There's a lot of people that haven't even dipped into, as far as there's a lot of people that don't even have a phone or go online that much. It's going to get bigger and bigger. So if you have a chance to actually join or create your own business, make sure that you have an online presence, and then stay consistent with whatever you're doing, because eventually it will. There's a tipping point with everything. If you, like, when you hit like Gary Vee hit his 100th episode, he started seeing a lot of results. If you keep on doing what you're doing, then you're going to see the fruits of your work, of your labor.
Well, that's
So,
cool. So I'm going to hit that this month.
yeah, 100.
Yeah, I'll be hitting 100 before the end of this month. So that would be a
Seriously.
nice.
And have you seen your like your viewership? Are you keeping track of the stats and everything?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, taking the first bunch out of the way because of obviously the downloads that I was getting from the first 10 episodes. But I would say at the moment it's kind of like averaging around 2,000 a month.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm obviously not happy with that. I'd like it to be 10x that. I'd like it to be 100x that. But
It will be that.
let's be
Eventually, it's going to
realistic.
be
Yeah,
that.
it's be realistic on that. And yeah, it's
Especially when you start the syndication thing.
oh well, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is, it's funny you say that, because I actually got, I got a guy that I got off of Fiverr. I looked at his reviews, and he syndicates, same thing, RSS feed, set it all up for me. He just sent me the file. I haven't looked at it yet, but I'm like, this is going to be interesting. I'm going to give it a shot, see what happens. It's not really for the podcast. Well, my podcast is on my website, but it's for my Win with Fred. I want to see what happens, because for some reason, when I first started, I was so intrigued with SEO,
Yeah.
and then I tried to conquer it. Good luck with that. And I stopped even doing anything like that. But now I've met another guy who is fantastic at SEO, and he's like, give me some pointers. I'm like, you know what? Why not? If I'm going to do it, I'll give it a shot. I'll add to it. So organic reach and then paid reach, you can't go wrong. Eventually it's going to hit.
Yeah. And again, it's like you said about the SEO thing. If you learn from someone who knows what they're talking about, then eventually you're going to see results, and it will be like the snowball effect. It's not going to be instant. If you want speed, then speed costs money, and as like Ryan Dye says, you don't have a traffic problem, right? That is one of the things that people come up. Oh, my website won't, I've got no traffic. Well, just turn on an ad. There's your traffic. Do you know what I mean? So it can be instant, but I always try and say to people, look, start earning money organically first before you dip in your own pocket, because you're effectively gambling with your grocery money, your gas money, your mortgage money. And if you don't know what you're doing, all you're doing is paying stupid tax, basically, because you're using a product or service that you don't really know 100% through. And you could just be throwing that money down the tube because you don't know what you're doing. And it's crazy. I mean,
I paid stupid tax before.
Yeah, we used to call it Google tax back in the day. So yeah, that was the same sort of thing. And, Google will quite happily just snap up a couple of $100 a day off you with no problem at all. The same as Mr. Zuckerberg as well. He'd be more than happy and to take your money, and that'll be that.
And the one thing too is, if you do both, Like if you stay consistent with, whatever your blog, and the thing is, you don't know if for some reason, if you have a lot of content on Facebook, and then all of a sudden they shut you down or shut down altogether. And then some people think, oh, Facebook will never shut down. Oh, I don't know if you guys remember. I know it didn't shut down, but MySpace was another thing that was it's still there, but it's not the same it used to be. If you have your own real estate, your own website, it's always good to have. And you can still post stuff that were on your website to, your Facebook or to your Instagram or to your LinkedIn. So
yeah, this is why
have your own real estate.
This is why I still think, and it's interesting. Last year I did a chapter in a book, which is still yet to be published. Hopefully it's going to be published real soon. But it was talking about having your own asset. And realistically, in my mind, the only thing that I really own is my email list, because I can download that thing. I can print it out, and I have the names and the email addresses of the people in that list. And no one can come by and take that from me. But I can get shut down or account locked on all these other platforms just in a heartbeat. And it's the same with like ManyChat, and ManyChat obviously is incredible because of the open rates, the click-through rates, and the effectiveness of it, and the ease of use, and everything else that goes with it. And I still need to refocus back on that myself. But I know one step out of line and my business page will disappear along with my ManyChat list. And and you just think, wow, if all you do is build that ManyChat list, you're dancing a little bit there. So you got to make sure that you're still building your own asset.
And another thing too is, I think a lot of people don't realize is text marketing is another big one too. And now here's the thing, right now I don't do that, but it's my radar, definitely down the road, because guess what, I'm getting hit with text. But I know that there's a lot of laws within that, so you definitely want to make sure you do it by the law.
Yeah. If you're thinking about open rates, your text message is probably going to blow everything else out of the water, I think, because even like most people will open a messenger, right? But I still message friends and stuff like that, and it takes them days sometimes to get back to me, just because they get so many. But if they get even we can miss phone calls and that, but if you get a text, it's kind of like, there it is, straight away. So yeah, that's something else that people could think of. And if they're thinking about like affiliate marketing and a way to be different and a way to try and get ahead of the game, then stay in front of the curve a little bit. Go find those people which are already having success with it, or those tools which are already compliant. Yeah. So you're not going to get any trouble and break any laws and stuff, and go and look at those things and try and utilize that in your business. It's a smart move.
Yeah, big time. I think that as long as you're, and I also believe that, like we talked about, you got to watch your numbers as far as you don't want to go broke doing this. Just that's from experience.
Yep.
And you want to go broke doing this, but you want to also don't want to not want to take the jump and not take the risk.
Yeah, I had one instance where I missed a setting on Google Ads, and I woke up the next morning and it spent $5,000.
What? Whoa.
Yeah.
Did you make any money? Did you cut any of those costs?
Nope.
Really? So you didn't have a cap on it?
It basically, I didn't. There was a couple of settings which I missed, and if you say to Google, your budget for the day is $100, some days it's going to spend more than that. Some days it's going to spend less than that. And at that point, I'd done something where I hadn't actually put a cap on, and I hadn't optimized the traffic either. So it was in my early days when, I was paying plenty of Google tax, and it's taken a while to get rid of all that. And yeah, it completely took me. And it was like a massive blow. I just looked at logged in to see what the numbers were. And I looked at it and went, that's gotta be a mistake. And then I went back, retraced my steps, and literally it was full, both hands on face, just looking at myself thinking, what on earth have I just done? How could I have made that mistake? And look what it's done. And it literally took months to get that back at that point. So
but you learn, right? You learn from it. It this has just recently happened to me.
Yeah.
I decided to, dive into some Forex trading, and I was doing really great. I had a great, when I say really great, I was obviously low, what do they call those things? What do they call it? Low lot size. And
Yes.
I had one, and I had my account was like, $200 something. I already went through one account because I didn't know that the broker would shut you down after. Well, they would stop you out. So I just remember watching this, and it was close to 5 o'clock, and I'm like, okay, I gotta get out of this trade. I gotta, come on, hit the profit. And this thing went, and I was on a sell. It went straight up.
Yeah.
It was crazy, and I saw my balance just skadoosh. It was gone.
That's cool.
And
See, we're more alike as you imagine now, because Bob is part of the same group that I am, because I do a bit of trading on the side as well. So he's in with the ninja guys, right?
I'm in there.
There you go. You're actually in the group. Come on.
Yeah, I honestly don't watch. I'm stubborn when it comes to stuff like that, because but the big thing is I'm so like focused with the funnels and stuff. But what I did not do, the moral of the story is I learned from this is every trade I do, I don't care what it is, what's going to happen. I'm putting a stop loss on it.
Yeah, you put a stop loss on it. Yeah,
Hands down.
and I know we're talking like complete alien to a lot of people now, because they're running to the hills, because we've gone from people that would look down on you if you didn't have a regular job to working online. Now we've got the people which work online looking down on us because we talked about network marketing. Now we've got the people that are network marketing looking down on us because we're talking about Forex.
Well, here's the thing. You can do it all if you want to. You just have to automate things. And there you go. Here's the thing. Bobby actually came over to my house, and we were looking at, I don't know and I don't want to get off subject, but let's talk scalping. Scalping is where you get little bits and pieces. And I got to tell you something. I was looking at that screen for like 4 hours straight, and I'm like, I can't do this. So I only go for the long trades. And
initially it's like hieroglyphics. I got to tell you, I first got a guy called David Kahn dropped me a message on Facebook, because I've known him for years, and he said, I've got this thing, we need some marketing doing, blah blah blah. And long story short, I've learned it over time, because now I can read it. It's kind of like when you're starting to learn a new language to begin with, you're lucky if you know how to say hello and goodbye in it, right? But if you did it for like 3 months, you'd start picking up little bits more, a little bit of this and a little bit of that, almost be able to order a drink at the bar, and occasionally ask for the check, and this is a progression of learning. And this is why, your plumbers don't get sent out on the road after like a 2 weeks intensive. They're going to need a little while to learn their trade. And that's exactly the same as what it is for any type of trading, whether it's currency, whether it's stocks or anything. So yeah, it's fun. And you mentioned
I used to like, we would always talk about like 90% win, where, oh my gosh, I'm at 100% win, 95% win. I don't care about wins and losses. My goal is to protect the account.
Yeah.
And the bottom line is, how much did I increase that account? Like a couple of weeks ago, I increased it by 22%. Not a lot, but guess what? It's a lot better than negative 22.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah.
22%. And I was like, fine. So, and I had literally like 13 wins and 11 losses.
That's crazy.
I just cut my losses. So yeah, it's fun. So we got off a tangent on Forex, stuff. But guess what? If you do like Forex, at least look into it. But just like anything,
just be careful. Just be careful.
It's a wild ride.
Anyone that says they're going to sell you and send you alerts and trades and automatic this and automatic that, just get away from it as fast as possible, because these guys will just take your money and they don't give a shit. And that is what gives the whole industry, I think, a bad reputation. Yeah, you got to look at it properly. And I'm sure, you can find your own ways for it. But yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that, because I have a trade running now, which I've had running for about 12 days now, and I'm still waiting for it to hit profit. So,
really?
Yeah.
How are you getting? Oh my gosh, how much are your charges up there?
Do you know what? I haven't looked. I don't know. It's
Like
going to,
swap.
whatever it
'Cause
is.
I made a mistake of trading oil.
Oh no,
And
it's small. It's like less than $2 for the swap. So I'm all right.
yeah, I did oil and I didn't realize this whole swap thing.
I don't even
And
know what it is. So,
yeah, they charged me basically $10 a day
ouch.
on for swap. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm losing money. It was stupid. So I don't trade oil. Don't trade oil unless you
No,
know what you're doing.
no,
So
we covered a lot of topics. We covered.
yes, we did. But we had a good time.
Yeah, we did.
Absolutely.
That's it. I'm not even drunk. It's amazing. Fred he's literally clinging onto his chair right now, but you know, everything's cool. Oh man. Excellent stuff. Listen, man, it has been a blast and I knew we'd have fun on this. I checked some of your stuff out before. I knew we aligned on certain things, so it was going to be an easy ride, this one. And it was just amazing, the epiphanies which came through and the similar ways that you're thinking, I'm thinking, and how everyone does business online or how it should be done online is cool, man.
Great minds think alike. So you're good.
Well,
You got a good mind.
yeah, that's someone else in the room, but you know, you're welcome to that one. You can have that. That's cool. So we're just going to do a little bit of reminder, and I will make sure all the links go into the show notes and that. So just give us a little promo. Tell everybody how they can get to you and what's on offer.
Well, we have I'm sorry. If you want to get, I have a freebie which goes around. I have like 7 bonuses in it. You can get that at winwithfred.com/win. Funnellogics.com is where you can get done for you. ClickFunnels, funnels, basically share codes funnels that I've created that you can just download, put in your ClickFunnels and use it as you wish. We have Inbox Assassin, which is done for you emails. If you need emails that actually will inbox, we actually test them to make sure they do inbox, but you know, depending on what you're using, hopefully they inbox. But Inbox Assassin, and then basically Funnel Fights, which is basically a free membership that's in the bonuses as well. Funnel Fights I'm going to get that picked back up again, but it has some free training back there as well as some funnel fights to where I love this, to where 2 people went against each other. They had 30 minutes to build a funnel, and we saw which funnel would convert best, and whichever one converted best was the winner.
Awesome, man. That sounds like a lot. That sounds a lot of fun.
Yeah. So Bobby's back there. Matt Lewis is back there. We had some good funnel fights, and it was a blast. Yeah, it was fun. But once again, I got away from that, and but yes, it's still out there and it's still available to watch. So. And oh yes, and the Freddy O Show on your favorite app listening to your podcast, the Freddy O Show.
There you go. There it is. It's all there. I'm gonna have to get some sort of essay off you to have all those links to put in the show notes, but they will go in.
I can send them to you.
Cool. I appreciate that, man. All right. Okay. So, as I said before, check the show notes for everybody to listen, see what Freddy's got going on. He's an amazing guy, loves what he does, and is exceptionally good at it. So that's for me tonight, and we'll catch you on the next one.